Good morning. This is Math 6-5, lesson 119, our second to last math lesson of this year. So only one left and then the test and we're done. So today you're looking at multiplying decimals. Now multiplying decimals is different than adding and subtracting decimals. If you remember adding and subtracting decimals, you line up the decimal places and you fill in. So we end up with 12 hundredths plus 3 tenths equals 42 hundredths. Let's look at these fractions. 1/10 times 1/10. When we're multiplying fractions, we multiply the top times the top. So 1 times 1 is 1, and the bottom times the bottom. 10 times 10 is 100. So 1/10 times 1/10 is 100th. So if I look at that as decimal places, 1/10 times 1/10 equals 100th. So when you're multiplying decimals, you have to count the decimal places after multiplying. 1 times 1 is 1. How many decimal places? There's one number after a decimal place here, one number after a decimal place here, for a total of 2 numbers after decimal places. So we have 2, and then put a decimal point. All right, so let's look at a few examples. We have 12 hundredths times 6. I'm going to do a regular multiplication. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. Now notice I didn't have to line up any decimal places. I didn't have to put my 6 over here. With multiplying decimals, you don't have to line them up. But what you do have to do is count how many numbers there are after the decimal point. So if you look, there's only 2 numbers after a decimal point. So I'm going to go over 1, 2. I'll draw the little line. 1, 2. So the answer is 72 hundredths. Let's look at this one. 25 times 3 tenths. I don't have to line up the decimal, but I am going to multiply as if it's not there while I'm multiplying. 3 times 5 is 15. Carry my 1. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. Now, I'm not going to put my decimal point in here. I'm going to count first how many numbers are after the decimal. I have 1. So I'm going to start here and go over 1 place and put my decimal there. So 25 times 3 tenths is 7 and 5 tenths. Do you see how I only went over 1 place? Because there's only 1 number after the decimal. This one's bigger. So we're going to look at this as 15 times 9 and then do our decimal point after. Again, don't forget to put the decimal point in though. Okay? Even though we do it after, don't forget it. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 4 is 13. Now let's see how many numbers we have after decimal places. Here's a decimal point. There's 2 numbers. Here's a decimal point. There's 1 number, for a total of 3 numbers. So 1, 2, 3. We put our decimal point there. If you have any questions on this, I will be on the Discord.